As we all know, the operating environment for a police officer is one that is traumatic in the extreme. They are confronting the very worst of the worst. They're dealing with situations that most people would want to turn around and run away from. This type of work, the impact that it has, it takes its toll. And so for those reasons, we've been looking to move from an art form to a science. The reality is we need to know what it is that makes some people more resilient than others. We need to better manage PTSD in the workforce. We need to prepare people from the very beginning and have them strong and resilient until they leave us and after they leave us. And so this particular project is going to bring together two universities, as well as all of the international collaboration that comes with two universities, well known for their research in general terms, but specifically in this area, we think going to give us tremendous value, and it will be something that will live on for generations to come. This is a longitudinal study. It is going to go on for many years. The amount of money that's been put at this through the successful awarding of the grant is, when you add dollars to value in kind, it's well in excess of $1 million. This is, I would say, the most serious attempt at looking at what we can do to look after our people that's ever been happened in Australia. And so from my perspective, that again makes it exciting. I think it might set the benchmark not only nationally but internationally, and certainly I'm looking forward to the results, and they'll be results that will be ongoing. We'll look to get that information as quickly as we can. So it's an exciting grant. It's one that we're certainly looking forward to working with the research facilities. We will be providing a lot of information. Our most junior officers, our most senior officers, and those that have actually left us, their families, they'll be part of this research. So we'll be getting right to the nub of it. I guess the thing that tipped me over the edge when it came to determining that we should make a bid, albeit that it was a couple of years ago and more recently with this successful bid, is we know that officers that join at the same time with very similar backgrounds, that have experienced the same operational traumas, that in fact work side by side, can go to one job and one officer can break down and suffer very, very badly, and another officer that's alongside him doesn't. Why? What is it that makes one person more resilient than another when in fact they're being exposed to the same sort of trauma? And that's the sort of thing that we need to rely on scientists. That's what we need, academics. We need those that are very practical in nature to come and have a look at it, tell us what's happening, and then we can start to deal with these problems. Because the best way to deal with these types of stress disorders, is to stop them happening in the first place. It's not about making people well, it's about stopping them getting sick.
The ability for the New South Wales Police Force to partner with eminent institutions like the University of Western Sydney and the Australian Catholic University to undertake a significant research program over a long period of time, I think will give us a series of outcomes and recommendations that will actually allow us to invest time and effort in the police force, because they invest their time and effort in looking after us. When we are in our worst times, when we are desperate for assistance and help, it's often those men and women in blue who turn up to help us out. It's time that New South Wales turns up to help them out when they need their assistance. For too long, we haven't invested the types of money in the research to get the outcomes that we need, and this is a massive step forward in this direction. Under my leadership, the Ministry of the New South Wales Government will be focused on police officer welfare. That starts from the very beginning, making sure that our police officers are equipped with all of the things, not just the physical equipment, but the mental capability to deal with one of the most stressful jobs any person will ever be a part of. This is a really strong step forward.
Our research partnership is committed to making a difference because we see police officers as unsung heroes in Australia. So what we're doing for the first time internationally is we're going to do a longitudinal study where we find out what are the unique drivers for policing in particular that contribute to the health and well-being of our New South Wales Police Force. What are the things that help us retain police who are committed to serve and to protect? We're very excited to be able to look at the individual factors that we know actually make a difference. Things like motivation, having a high self-concept, being committed and passionate about the duties that you undertake, as well as how those help protect against stresses. Stresses like burnout, stresses like becoming stressed in terms of reacting to what you're seeing in a job that involves often violence and things that are unknown to most Australians. We're also going to take a look at the organisational factors. What aspects of organisational climate in different commands, in different contexts, make a difference? What factors work? And we're going to be relying on the voices of our New South Wales Police Force to tell us what they think makes a real difference for them, for their well-being and for their futures in the force.
Commissioner Scipione and I go back a fair while. We were both detectives in Western Sydney, and later I was a detective in a more specialised area, as was he. And we've got we've got very different political backgrounds, but we actually agree on each other. And as colleagues, we realised that solidarity was a very important component of policing. We've made a commitment to each other over the years that we are both determined that when we finish up our respective careers, that the policing institution in New South Wales should be better than when we joined, even if it's only a fraction better. That's our commitment. Policing is not a theory, it's not an idea, and for far too long the academic community has treated it as if it's just an idea or a theory. It's a concrete practice, it's a serious practice where police who are flawed are dealing with a community that is flawed and is at its worst. And we can't dismiss the impact of that just by grabbing a soundbite or a single narrative and put it on the front page of a newspaper and portraying a whole institution as if this is what happens every day on every street corner. Enormous efforts have been made to restructure and reform the organisation, and there's a lot of police that have suffered as a consequence, and police retention, police wellbeing is a key factor to the reputation of an organisation. And what our research team, headed by Professor Craven, will do is do our utmost to provide the government and Commissioner Scipione and the New South Wales Police with good, solid scientific evidence that they can base their future policies on, rather than just narratives and dogma, which in the past has often been the case.
The New South Wales Police Force have certainly in the past spent a lot of time in relation to reacting to officers who may be suffering, and we will continue to do that. What this research will allow us to do is it builds on what we're already doing within the organisation, but also asks officers how they're going and what focuses they have in relation to their health and well-being throughout their career, and we're looking forward to some really positive strategies and information coming out of that. So currently we are changing our focus from not only giving that reactive assistance to officers, but trying to identify and train people in relation to making sure their health and well-being is good throughout their career as a police officer. We've implemented a number of training programs all the way from the academy, once they come in as a probationary constable, right up to the command level. So all through our leadership courses, we look at resilience, how to keep healthy, and how to identify others that may be suffering to make sure that they're okay. And there's a lot of things that impact on policing, not only in the organisation, but in general life as well. We're looking at also, we have psychologists in the organisation that will talk to officers who are in high stressful commands and situations, and talk to them regularly and have a good conversation with them where they can talk about their issues and try and seek some help and guidance. We're looking at a program at the moment of implementing for our commanders to make sure they're healthy, because they have different stresses, running officers and identifying where they may not be healthy as well. So this research is a positive for us, that we can look at what makes an officer tick, what keeps them healthy, what makes them from now and again not be so well, and look at strategies that we can continue to implement, because we look at it all across the world. We look at what other organisations are doing and try and identify how we can build those strategies into our organisation to build the resilience of our officers. So looking very much forward to the results of this research study.